Hello and welcome back to New Paradigm Healing. This series focuses on ayahuasca-assisted therapy. Our intention is to educate, inform, and support the conscious and responsible use of ayahuasca in the Western context. If you want to know more about ayahuasca-assisted therapy and our upcoming trainings and workshops, sign up for our mailing list to be the first one to know about the latest news at avatarhealingarts.com.
We've got this exciting in-depth training on ayahuasca-assisted therapy. And the cool thing about this is it's actually a facilitator training. So let's dive in. Nina, I've got so many questions. First off, what made you create this training? What did you feel called to do this? What was it? Talk about the beginning of it.
Thank you. Hi, Casey. Nice to have you with me again. Long time you were not on the podcast, and welcome everybody who is listening to this podcast. This is a special edition about this training that we're going to be launching next April. And yes, I'm super excited. To be honest, this was something that I think it was destiny, because I never really planned to do this. When I started my journey with the medicine 10 years ago, and I went to Peru to train with the Shipibos and to sit with the medicine, I never heard about integration. I thought that, I think what most people think from the West, that you just go to the ceremony and that's the big deal, and in the ceremony lots of things will happen, and afterwards you're going to be fine and everything's going to be perfect and you're going to be healed, and that was the type of naivete that I also had, at the beginning. So when I finished the training in Peru, and the facilitator who was guiding us partially, apart from obviously the shaman and the plant master and the native Shipibos, she said something at the end of the training which was like, okay, the real work begins now. And I was like, what is she talking about? I thought the work is done, that all is done, and now it's just smooth sailing from here. And in my personal journey, I found out kind of the hard way, through my experience, that the medicine is not some kind of magic pill that makes all your troubles go away, that actually we are the healers, and we need to do the necessary healing work, shadow work, inner child work, so on and so forth, that so many people are familiar with, to create, long-lasting positive changes in our life. But this was, I didn't know about this at the beginning. So as so many people probably resonate with this, what my journey at the beginning was just going from ceremony to ceremony and drinking more medicine, because my expectation to feel better, it didn't come true. On the contrary, actually, I started to feel worse, after all the ceremonies, and shit started to come up, so to say, and hit the fan, and I felt very uncomfortable, and I thought to myself, I just need to drink more medicine, that's probably what I need. So I did that, and after a year of participating in quite a bit of ceremonies, I hit a breaking point, and the breakthrough, however you want to look at it, it depends on the perspective, but definitely it was a very challenging time for me. That was kind of like a dissolution of identity, very scary process that I went through, and at that point I really thought, for a while, that I'm gonna end up in some mental hospital, and I'm totally losing it. And at that point, I met a beautiful healer, a Mexican shaman who was telling me about the integration, and she told me, okay, stop drinking medicine, that's the first thing that you want to do, and what you want to do after is to start diving into your integration process. And I was like, what is that? I don't know, what are you talking about? So she explained that to me, and she guided me, at the beginning, and she helped me to understand what does it mean, and gave me a little map and some reference points. And because I was already a therapist for many years, I had, quite a bit of understanding of healing and tools that I was using in my own practice and my personal life. So, I just started to apply these tools and this understanding in this framework that she was telling me about. And what that resulted in was 3 years of integration that I literally didn't do another ceremony for 3 years, because that's how long it took for me to integrate my experience, which for me means just really embody it, to bring it to your everyday life, to create that practice, and live out from that insight and realization that you received, through your medicine journeys. Otherwise, I think what happens to most people is that the experience becomes just a memory, and then after a while you start to revert back into the old behavior and the old patterns of your life, because you didn't make a conscious effort to really go deep and change the root causes of the problem. So once I did this integration, I was completely blown away, and I realized, based on my own experience, that wow, the majority of that healing work and that transformation really happens after the ceremony and not in the ceremony. And this was really revolutionary understanding for me, because like before, like so many people, I thought, oh, the ceremony is the big deal, and it's definitely something super important. But now in retrospect, I look at it more like opening a door into a new territory and taking the first steps and beginning a journey. It's really a beginning of a journey. And I think really about like 80% or more of that healing work happens after the ceremony, and what I call the integration process. And just to give people an idea, what do I mean by integration, is really, for me, in my understanding, is like all kind of disease and discomfort and everyday challenges arise from the fact that we are fragmented, we are disconnected, on some level. So if you look at just human being, the filter I'm using to look at somebody is to consider 4 aspects: the physical body that we obviously have, and then the mental body, which is all of our thoughts and ideas and beliefs and values and ethics, and then the emotional body, which is all of the emotions and feelings that we have, and then the spiritual body, which is our kind of divine aspect, or some people call it the soul, or that is that undying, infinite aspect that will journey on even, after we leave this physical body. So, I think that most of us are in a state of fragmentation when we are disconnected, from our intuitive guidance, from our emotions, emotionally shut down, mentally kind of brainwashed, controlled. Like a lot of ideas and beliefs that we live out from are not really our own. It's like something borrowed from other people, or we are indoctrinated or conditioned into certain way of looking at the world. And then, I think most people in the West, we are totally disconnected from our spiritual nature, and what does it mean to be a spiritual being, and to live a spiritual life, or to live a sacred life, or to live life as a ceremony. So this kind of fragmentation and separation causes the energy not to flow properly in our being, and creates blockages, like energetic blockages that can manifest in many ways, like physical disease or mental emotional imbalance, or dysfunctional behavior, so on and so forth. So when I'm talking about integration, is really what I mean is to bring balance and harmony and connectedness into these 4 aspects of ourselves, to align our physical body with our mental body, with our emotional body, spiritual body, and to create kind of like an equilibrium and a balance when energy can flow freely without resistance, and we can experience, you know, health and well-being and abundance and joy and happiness and all of these things that most people wish for, you know. So, you know, this is quite a bit of undertaking, because most people come from an environment where they are, you know, traumatized, and they hold a lot of just, you know, challenging experiences, memories, because just life happening to us causes this type of fragmentation and disconnection in our being. And I think for me, healing is really coming back to that natural state of wholeness, when we are connected within us and we are in alignment and we are in that equilibrium and balance. And that is how we meant to be, that is how we're supposed to be, you know. And the fragmentation is something that happens due to certain things, you know, around us or inside us in life, and that's what causes, you know, most of the challenges that most people face. So in the integration process, especially with the medicine, you know, that's what the medicine helped me to do. The medicine helped me to see how I am fragmented and why I am fragmented, and why that disconnection happened and where the disconnection happened. So with that awareness, you know, and that understanding, I started out using my tools and my wisdom and support that I was receiving, you know, from other people to start to reconnect myself and integrate myself, and coming towards that, you know, state of wholeness. Like, I'm not claiming that I'm fully whole, because I think if we are fully whole, that's what some people call enlightenment, probably, you know, that wholeness and that full sense of connectedness, and that, you know, returning to our true nature. So I definitely don't feel I am that yet, but definitely I can feel that in my life, you know, due to this process of integration, that is an ongoing process, and that the medicine and the spirit of the medicine helped me to learn, you know, how to do this integration and how to continue to do it in my life, because this is not something that, okay, you did like 6 months of that, all good, but this is something that will continue for a while, because we carry so much. That is the gift that I received from the medicine. So when I started to talk about my experience and about this realization that, wow, there is this missing link, this integration part that nobody is talking about, and everybody is just so concerned about the ceremony and the drinking the medicine and going to the shamans and all that, which is good and so important. I was like, wow, this is, you know, I think something that needs to be looked at and talked about and shared. So I started talking about it based on my experience and how it helped me and assisted me, you know, in my journey, and made a huge difference, you know, of how I work with this medicine and how I understand, you know, the potential in us and, you know, in this work, in order to take our power back and to come back to that alignment and to be those sovereign beings that we meant to be. So I started to talk about this, and then people came to me and said, oh, I want to do that. You know, I want to do the way you did it. I want to do the integration. So I started to take on some one-on-one clients, and it was like absolutely mind-blowing, the experience that I had with these people. Like literally 100% of the cases, people who I work with and did this integration program, which is a year-long program, that I developed based on that framework that I was using for myself, just had like 100% recovery rate from whatever they came with. May that be a physical disease, may that be a behavior, challenging behavior, dysfunctional behavior, mental, emotional imbalance. It didn't really matter, you know, what was the problem that prompted them, you know, to step on this path. But the fact was that with the integration, this conscious integration work, they were able, you know, to transform that and to transcend that, you know, and to create like very deep, long-lasting changes in their life. So, you know, after a couple of years, like working with people and seeing how big significance this integration has, and how important it is for people to understand, you know, that working with this medicine is really not a one-night stand, but it's a journey, you know, and it takes a while, and what are the elements of that journey and how you can gauge like where you are in that process, just really prompted me to write a book about it, because I thought this is so important, this information, that I want to put it out. I want to share it with as many people as possible. So yeah, just a long work of, you know, of this work of love, really, because it was part of my journey writing the book. And then last November finally it was released. So it's called Heart Medicine, the Ayahuasca Assisted Therapy and the Integration Process. And in the book, the first part of the book, I write about my personal journey and experience, and the second part of the book, I really dive into this. What does this integration process mean, and what are those milestones that everybody goes through, you know, in their healing process, and what are some tools that you can use, you know, to help yourself and support yourself in this journey. So, you know, the book is a great success. Like, more and more people are buying it, and I receive like emails, and people contact me all the time that they read my book and it really helped them and it's really resonated with them. So, you know, for me, the next logical step was to create a training, because what I was noticing is that, you know, I commit, you know, for more than a year with one person. It's a very deep personal healing process. So I have a physical limitation of taking on, you know, more than like 10 people a year to do this work. So I wanted to reach more people, and also you know, I had people who wanted to do the program, and I couldn't take them on because I simply didn't have enough time and space in my life, you know, to take everybody on who was coming to me. And I didn't have any other therapist to refer these people to. And I'm not saying that there are no other great integration therapists, because probably there are many. And you know, since then I connected with a few of them, but at that time I didn't know, you know, anybody who has, you know, the tools as a therapist, as a healer, and the education and the training as a healer, and the experience with the medicine and the similar perspective to do this kind of work. So I said to myself, you know, that I think for me the next logical step is to turn the book and the whole framework that I'm keep using, you know, into a training, and to teach people who feel called to walk this path about this framework that I'm using, because the framework is pretty simple, and you can bring your own personality and your own tools, you know, into that framework. So yeah, so this is how the whole thing kind of evolved, and now we are launching the training next April, which I'm super excited about, because I can really say it is like 10 years, you know, in the making, and everything that happened in my personal journey, and then working with people for years, and I'm still working with people, you know, with this process, and writing the book, and then finally putting this training together. So I'm just like super excited about that.
So like this training, you've done a couple of like workshops and stuff in the past. Is this a new structure? Talk about what's new about the one in April, because this is the first one of the facilitator, right? But you've done other workshops. So what makes this facilitator one different than the ones in the past?
Right. Yeah, that's a good question. So this training, it's a longer training. It's a year and 3 months actually. So and this training focuses on people who feel called to support other people in their medicine journey. So this is not a training to train shamans or shamanic practitioners or to serve the medicine or to assist in medicine circles, because there's many amazing people out there doing that work. This training is especially focuses on, the preparation process and the integration process. So to train people who will be able to provide a container before and after the ceremony for the individuals to go through their own healing process, their own transformation, their own integration process. And I think that's one of the main difference, because a lot of trainings or retreats that is out there right now with the medicine is to serve the medicine, is focusing on serving the medicine and serving people in the ceremonial space. Now this training is, it gives the container around, the ceremony. So what people gonna learn, how to create a container, and how to prepare individuals to go into the ceremony, how to help them to set clear and deep intentions, how to work through content and material that arises and fears that arises before people go into the ceremonial space, how to just to really prepare people for the whole experience, the whole journey, not just the ceremony itself. And then after the ceremony, to help people to integrate their experience and to help them to discover, to reconnect with their own innate healing power and their own wisdom and their own intuitive guidance, and to teach them certain tools, that will serve them not just in the integration process, but in their life, in the future in general, to navigate their life, to navigate, intensity, to navigate challenges, because life is not going to stop after the ceremony. And yeah, you will have new challenges and you will have, things to work out and overcome in your life. So you will learn, in this integration process, a framework and certain tools that will enable you to continue this journey and to navigate your life with greater ease and confidence, just in general. So this training is really for people who are already, therapists or healers. So they are on this healing path for a while, who are committed, to this path, who are, passionate about their own healing journey, their transformation, their awakening, who have experience with this medicine already, and who feel a deep calling, to assist others on this path, especially in the preparation and the integration process. And these people, it will just help them with the framework and with extra tools, how to do this work, which is based on my experience, the framework that I was using in my work. So this is really for people who feel a deep calling to go deeper with the medicine and to assist people, beyond, the ceremonial space, because I think that a lot of people stop kind of their healing process, like after the ceremony, like challenging things come up for them, their shadow is start manifesting in their life, and people get scared, like people are not equipped, to deal with these kind of things. They are not trained therapists. They don't have necessarily the tools to address all that is arising for them, and it can be very scary and frightening experience. So a lot of people like stop and say, okay, I don't want to go there. I don't feel comfortable. I feel scared. I don't know what to do. So they just kind of suppress it or resist, what is happening. And if you have like a guide to work with who can create a safe container for you and support you to surrender rather than resist, in this intensity, and to go deeper and to let go of those things that are not serving you, then it can make like a huge difference, in individuals, people's life and their quality of life, and how they approach life and their own life and just life in general.
So just to be clear, to clarify, this isn't this is more for the prep and the integration, not necessarily sitting with the medicine, correct?
Yeah, it's absolutely not sitting with the medicine. That's a different training. If you are listening to this podcast now and you want to serve the medicine or assist in a ceremonial space, this is not the training for you. There are other ways to do that. And this is especially geared to creating a container for the people before they go into the ceremony, and have them prepare. So to go in with a great intention, which is set and setting, super important with all entheogens, and then to hold that space for them after the ceremony, where as we said, most of the work happens there, most of the transformation, 80%. So if you are alone, if you are lost in your own drama, in your own shadow, it's very, very hard to do that. So most people are not going through with this work, because they don't know how. And it's really good for me to see that, especially the last few years, integration is becoming a word in the psychedelic scene, and more people talking about integration, and you have to integrate your experience, and that's part of the journey. So definitely there is an awareness around that people, I think, there's a lot of people who just keep drinking, going from ceremony to ceremony, and they still stuck, they're still stuck in their life. They still have the same challenges. They still in the same toxic relationships. They still, dealing, with similar problems than when they started out. So people are realizing that I'm missing something here, even though I went to so many ceremonies and I drank this many cups of ayahuasca and so on and so forth, and it becomes like almost like a competition of how many ceremonies did you do and how many cups of medicine did, and you are still, it doesn't matter how many medicine did you drink. What matters is that how did it make your life better? Is your life better? Are you more happy? Are you more healthy? That's what matters, and so I think people start to recognize that this is just part of the journey, the ceremony, and there is this kind of missing link, which is the integration, and there is more and more emphasis on that. And now people having more awareness, people who are going into the medicine journey, they are like, okay, how I'm going to do my integration afterwards. So they are looking for people who can help them in the integration, and there is no people. I mean, as I said, there are some people like myself, who kind of worked it out from our own experience and able to hold this space for people. And I'm connected with some of my beautiful colleagues, who do similar work than I do. But really, there is no training for this. There is no, it wasn't even a thing like 10 years ago. So it's like a very blank sheet, and it's like when people are like, okay, I want to have an integration therapist for my ayahuasca experience who will help me after the ceremony. They don't know where to go, and there is not many places to go, to be honest. So that is my main inspiration and motivation to create this training. And I looked at, trainings that are out there, especially in the United States with psychedelic assisted therapy. There is no training specific to this medicine. Like most of the trainings that are out there, they are about psilocybin, MDMA, ketamine, some of them maybe cannabis. So these are, those substances that are more regulated and more research on them in the United States, and they have some kind of trainings, to train people in psychedelic assisted therapy. Most of these trainings in the United States are only available to medical professionals, so you have to be a licensed, physician or nurse or whatever. And a lot of the trainings are very short term, and it's very theoretical. Like most of the trainings that I looked at, they don't even require the participant to have experience with the medicine that they are learning, about, and they're gonna support people in their integration process, which is, I think, like absolutely outrageous. There is like, I think you cannot take people where you've never been, that's just such a simple truth. If you don't have your own experience, like you are absolutely not equipped or prepared, to guide people, in this terrain. So I looked at these trainings, and I saw that there are very few trainings that are available, and those trainings are very limited, very theoretical and very limited in terms of who can participate. And that was another inspiration for me to put this training together that focuses especially on the ayahuasca. This is the first training that focuses on this medicine, on the integration process. There's absolutely no other trainings, connected to this medicine. And this is definitely the most in-depth training. So the training is, as I said, a year and 3 months, and it's 350 plus hours of live training. There is like a 5 weeks residential retreat, when people go through their own experience. And yeah, it is the most in-depth and the most kind of practical, in a way that this is basically learning through your own experience. So in the training, people will go through the same framework, the same journey that they will take their clients through, when they become, support for others. And at the same time, they are also learning, how to guide others. So it's a pretty intense training. It's going to be, definitely, it's an invitation-only training. So it's for, I'm looking for specific people who already did, their internal work and their shadow work, and are familiar, with these places, because going through your own journey and at the same time learning, how to guide others and how to create a safe container for others is intense. It takes a lot of courage and commitment and dedication. So it's definitely for people who feel deeply called, on a spiritual level, to serve this way. So yeah, so my intention is really with the training to create kind of like a golden standard for training people in psychedelic assisted therapy, and especially, specific to the ayahuasca, because I think it's like a lot of people drawn to this medicine, and it's absolutely so needed that there are people who can assist people, after the ceremony, and can create, a safe place for them to process their experience and to heal, whatever they need to heal.
Awesome. Is there any other, I was looking briefly on your website, and we'll post that up there. It's avatarhealingarts.com, and it'll be under the training. But I was looking at some of the things. Let's see. So personal mentoring, like, are these mainly like online courses? Was one of my questions.
Yeah,
and then
you.
the retreat, is that traveling? Talk about what that looks like.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. Well, and now with this new situation in the world, right, since everything is going online, so yeah, and I have so many people, I have people from New Zealand, from South Africa, who are, interested. That was another thing that people reached out to me and said, I want to learn, what you're doing. So I was like, okay, I really need to come up with a framework for that. Yeah, so the training, the preparation, the first 3 months of the training is online. It's via Zoom. We're going to record all the calls. And so it's live, but it's through the internet. And then we have the 5-week residential retreat that is like highly recommended that people come in person. It's going to be probably in Mexico or possibly in Costa Rica. And some people who are not able to physically travel, they can plug into the retreat, to the 5-week residential online. So again, all of the classes, and all of the activities we're gonna record, and hopefully you're gonna record. And yeah, and we're gonna have a live Zoom feed for those people who are not able to physically be present on the residential retreat, but be present virtually in all of the classes and the activities that we're gonna do. So that's going to be the personal part, if people can make it, and probably some people will come down if it's possible for them, because it's really good, you know, to physically come together, and it is different, you know. I mean, everything has advantages and disadvantages, obviously. And then after the retreat, the rest of the training is online as well, via Zoom. So I was trying to make it, you know, as flexible and as available as possible for most people, you know, from all around the world to participate in this. And yeah, the way to apply, as I said, it's an invitation training only, because I'm looking for very specific people. And yeah, if you go to my website, as you said, avatarhealingarts.com/training, you find, you know, big bunch of the information there. So just read through the information, and if you feel called in your heart, you know, to serve this way, there is a way to register, and you can fill out a questionnaire online. So you can just click on the register button, fill out this questionnaire that I'm going to receive, and we're going to receive with the team, and we read through that, and if you qualify, you know, then we're going to have a personal conversation, like, with you, and see if it's the right match, you know, for all of us, for us and for you personally. And that's it, basically, you know. Then if people who qualify, we invite them, you know, to participate in this training. So that's kind of how we do it right now. That's the idea. And of course, it's going to be a huge learning experience for us as well to run this training, because I never ran this training in this shape and form. So it's going to be a lot of learning for me involved as well. But I'm just super excited. I'm like super passionate about this topic. I'm super passionate about healing. That's, you know, in all my life, you know, I was a therapist. That's kind of definitely my life purpose, to help people to empower themselves, you know, to take back the power over their health and their life, and to really bring this message through that we are the healers, and love is the medicine. Because this really was, you know, the main message that I received, you know, through my journey, that we all have this innate power to heal ourselves and to change our life. But when we are in that fragmented state, you know, we don't have that power. That power is fragmented and is going away into many places, and we don't feel it, so we can't make, you know, positive action. So it's really, you know, for me to help people to come into a place of wholeness, when they can access that power that we all have, and that comes from within you, and that guidance, and of course reconnect back into that heart space. And that's why we say love is the medicine, because I truly believe that if I would have to summarize, you know, the whole healing journey, I would say, is just return to love, you know, loving yourself, and then, you know, loving other people and the earth and everything. But it always starts with ourselves, and that is for me the true medicine, you know, to come back to that place of love within ourselves, towards ourselves, and then towards, you know, everything that is around us. And that's what makes a huge difference. That's what made the difference in my life, and in people's life who I work with. So yeah, I'm just like so excited and so passionate about this, and really ready, you know, to make this happen. And I think it's like kind of part of my contribution to the world, and just helping people to understand that we are powerful creator beings, you know, and that is our true nature, and our true nature is wholeness, and we are spiritual beings, and we are divine beings. And to remember that, and to realize that, and to live out from that space, you know, on an everyday basis, that's what, you know, the training is geared towards to do.
Well, and it's kind of, I love that, like, along the journey of learning, you know, how to serve others, there's just so much that is revealed personally, and so much healing that comes. So it's like you're taking care of yourself also. It's like and learning other, but you can't go through a year and 3-month program, especially with you, Nina, and not, come out just transformed personally as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I know this is the longest training that is out there right now in psychedelic assisted therapy. And I saw, like, without any judgment really, but I saw this advertisement on social media the other day saying, become a breathwork therapist in 3 days. And this is, I think, very prevalent nowadays, that people, seeing this, oh, just do this workshop and you qualify to do this. And that. You cannot be a therapist and a healer in 3 days. That's like absolutely impossible. And I think we live in a world where we need this instant gratification. Like, I want it now. I want it in a weekend workshop. Like, now I'm like a master now, because I did this 2-day weekend, and I'm a master of this. And I think it's nothing further from the truth, because real change takes time and dedication. And as we said before, and I'm sure from your own journey, that to work through that, like, to integrate that shadow, to face your shadow, to face your fears, to work with the inner child, to heal trauma that you carried from your lifetime. Then to add on top of that what you bring from your lineage, what you bring from the collective, all this baggage, so to say, that is not going to disappear overnight. That is not going to go away, because you drink some kind of plant and now it's like magic. If it would be like, everybody would do that. It's so obvious. If that would be the case, everybody would just go and drink ayahuasca and be happy, but that's not the case. So I think, part of this journey is just taking that responsibility and that understanding that what you put in, you get out. And this is just as simple as that. And, this is a journey and not a one-night stand. And I think that a lot of people want the power but don't want the responsibility. And that is like a basic misconception, that there is no power without responsibility. There is just like not exist, You need to take the responsibility to access the power. You need to be responsible for everything, that is in your life and for all your creation. And that's very hard pill to swallow for most people, but that's really truly the beginning of this journey, when you can take that power. Because if you created everything that you experience, then guess what, you can recreate it and you can change it. So I think that's very important. And this training, the way I put together is really to aspire to the highest level of integrity and ethics. That's another thing, that happens not just in the plant medicine world, but I think like in every area, really, there are people without integrity. So that's no question, and that's just okay, that's just part of life. But I'm really holding this bar really high for myself and for all the people who I'm working with. And if you follow the podcast, you probably listened, to some of my clients who gave, their who talked about their experience, in previous episodes. So it's really important for me that we stay in that place of ethics and integrity and unconditional love and service. And this doesn't become, a kind of like a tool for exploitation and manipulating other people, because, everything is just a tool and you can use it whatever way you intend to use it, and that intention can be service to yourself or service to others. So I'm just really committed to this path of serving others and to hold this by really high. And all the staff that is working and will be working on the retreat, they are all women. It's going to be an all-female experience, and part of that is to create that safety as well, and that that confidence and bringing this divine feminine, this nurturing and this unconditionally loving energy, and really infuse our space with that. It's not that I have any problem with men or any judgment on them, but it's just kind of evolved this way. And I think it's gonna be a good experiment and experience to see, you know, how this container will work out. And maybe we will change it, you know, in the future and include the divine masculine as well. But right now it's just these divine feminine space holders who will be part of this. So I really wanted to create something that, for me, it's really the highest level of ethics and integrity, and to teach people this way, that's, you know, the first and foremost important, you know, in your work, of what is that intention that you are putting into your work. And when you are working with a client, when you are assisting somebody who is in their most vulnerable space, you know, in their most, they are most lost, you know, they are most disconnected, and it's easy to, you know, sometimes get away with the spiritual ego, or think that you figured it all out, and just to think that you know what is good for the other person. So to stay in that great humility, that at the same time that I am a teacher, I'm always a student as well. I think it's like very important, and to you know, help people to understand that walking this path is like, you know, it means to do your continuous learning and your continuous healing and shadow work, and stay kind of like walking the talk, you know. Basically, it's not that, oh, I'm finished. Like I do work right now, like, you know, from our personal conversations, that this year was very challenging for me in many ways, and I do work with 2 therapists who are supporting me right now, you know, in this moment, and I think that's the most responsible thing that I can do, and the most mature thing that I can do, and when I come to that place that I think that, okay, I don't need any help because I know everything that there is to know, that, you know, please slap me in the face or something, you know. But I have some friends who are authorized, you know, to keep this check. So yeah, it's also, that's another part of the training, that there is so many energies out there, and of course, you know, there is the dark side of plant medicine and the shadow of this psychedelic renaissance. Like everything has the light and the shadow, and you know, instead of fighting against the shadow, what I'm intending to do with this training is to stand in the light, and to create this anchor, you know, in the light, in service to others, and with integrity, and with those ethics, you know, that will help people to stand firm and to anchor, you know, while they are holding space and holding containers for other people who are passing through their dark night of the soul.
Awesome. Great. Well, I think, is there anything else that we missed that we haven't gone over outside? We'll put everything in the show notes as far as where to go. Have we missed anything?
So the training will start, we will start in April 2022. So yeah, if this is, you know, speaking to you, maybe go to my website and check it out, avatarhealingarts.com/training. Also, it's great if you read the book, you know, you can download the book from Amazon, or from my website you can access the book, Heart Medicine, because that gives, you know, a little bit more insight to the framework that I'm using. And yeah, if this resonates with you and you feel this calling in your heart, just please fill out the registration form on my website, and we will be in touch with you shortly, and hopefully, if it's a good match, you know, then we can welcome you in the first ever training. And also, you know, as you know, people don't know, but you are helping me with my video materials and creating, you know, all the video footage, and that's how we met. And yeah, the whole training is going to be recorded. Hopefully you can make it down there and you can do that work for us. And I'm planning to do like some kind of documentary or something, out of the whole experience to show people what this is about, because I'm sure you know better than me that one image is speaks more than 1,000 words, and now we are speaking, but it's just all words and concepts. So hopefully, after the first training, we will be able to create some visual video materials also for people to really show them what is this about, and until then we can just talk about it, which is why we are here today. And if anybody has any questions, that they can just email me at nina@avatarhealingarts.com. And I'm just calling in all those healers and teachers and way-showers and agents of the new paradigm who are meant to walk this path and serve this way, and you know who you are, so contact us.